Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Jasleen Kaur, and I'm a trans creator on the Guru Granth Sahib project. We're excited to announce the release this month of the compositions related to the Amrit or initiation ceremony. There are a lot of compositions being released, so I thought I would just talk about one and, particular things from that one composition that have stuck with me. So the one I'd like to talk about is a composition that's actually taken from Sidh Ghost, or Guru Nanak Sahib's conversation with the Siddhs. I think, something to know about this before I kind of get into what stuck with me is that it's written in the musical mode of Ramkali, so it's used to evoke these feelings of like triumph regardless of circumstance, an understanding between kind of two wise people in dialogue with one another that like there's great pain, but also through great effort, one can triumph over that pain, and that's what makes that triumph so much sweeter. And in this particular composition, the Siddhs ask Guru Nanak Sahib 5 questions. By which method have you transformed your life? With whom have you attached your mind? By which method have you removed hope and desire? By which method have you found ceaseless light? And how can one chew iron without teeth? This composition is made up of Guru Nanak Sahib's responses to the Siddhs. Something to kind of generally note about this composition is that Guru Nanak Sahib tends to take the vocabulary of the people he's speaking to and sort of make their understanding vaster through his reframing, which is what I've really loved to sort of think about and revisit the past few months. So there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. The second question that the Siddhs ask is, with whom have you attached your mind? And Guru Nanak Sahib says, connecting my consciousness with the unstruck Shabad, with the word sound, the wisdom, I have attached this mind to the all-pervading IkOankar. So Guru Nanak Sahib is explaining that he's immersed himself in this unstruck sound, in the Shabad, in the wisdom, and through this immersion, he's been able to connect his mind to the one. And the reason why this is so interesting to me is because the yogis, their sort of discipline and practice is about attempting to empty themselves and foster sort of silence and space within. And in order to help them do that, they actually do use sound. They use one instrument that plays this one single note that is struck and kind of continually produced with great effort. And that's also kind of part of their discipline and practice. And so the Guru is taking that idea and subverting it when he speaks of not emptying his mind, but drenching his mind in something. And what is he drenching it in? Not a single audible played note that is played with great effort, but in this unstruck sound, in the music of the spiritual sphere that plays without anybody having to sort of strike it, without any effort. And it is a sound that can't be heard by the ears. It can only be experienced. And it is this musical manifestation of spiritual bliss. So you have that kind of juxtaposition that's happening, and sort of active sort of making understandings vaster through his explanation of what he's doing and what he's involved in. And the other thing that I think I've really been thinking about in this particular composition is the last couple of questions where the Siddhs say, by which method have you found ceaseless light? And the Guru says, through the wisdom I've found ceaseless light. And basically explains that by becoming wisdom oriented, one can experience the ceaselessly pervading light of IkOankar. This is an experience of constant presence, and it can only happen through the wisdom. And so, we translate and transcreate wisdom from the original word guru, right? So even these Siddhs have their own worldly gurus. They have mentors that they follow. They have schools of thought that they are party to, and they take that mentorship of the physical guru in their pursuit, in their spiritual journeys. And Guru Nanak Sahib is saying, well, my guru is the wisdom, and this wisdom is not of a particular yogic practice or ritual or discipline. And when one can become wisdom oriented, it means that one's words, thoughts, and actions are guided by and chiseled by the wisdom. And I think I'm trying to sort of relate this still to our Amrit ceremonies. And I think something that's really important, if I can sort of speak more generally about the compositions as a whole, is that like we are told time and again by the Guru that like this Amrit is not a physical Amrit. This immortalizing nectar is not a physical thing that we are drinking. It is Nam. And that Nam exists within all of us. And the question is actually whether or not we're bringing it out of ourselves, like cultivating it within and allowing it to do the things that Guru Nanak Sahib is talking about, right? Allowing it to change our words and thoughts and actions, allowing it to redirect us so that we are guided by the wisdom, chiseled by the wisdom. So yeah, I think sometimes when we think about like the Amrit ceremony in sort of the worldly sense, we think about it as an ending point, as like something that you do once you've like kind of checked a bunch of things off the list. And the Guru is showing us that like once we make that commitment, once we sort of are ready for initiation in this house of the eternal wisdom, our efforts are not over. It's not that we are like we've reached a point and then it's done. It's like we continue to cultivate that Nam within us, cultivate that identification with IkOankar, cultivate that remembrance, cultivate that relationship with the wisdom. And we, through that initiation, we also leave behind the paradigms of the world around us, right? So in this composition, the Guru says to the yogis that he has been able to chew iron without teeth, which is like kind of a way of saying like, how have you been able to do something so difficult? His answer is like, he is not part of this paradigm of like the three qualities of Maya or attachment to the material and to relationships. And that's so important because the Siddhs exist within that paradigm of like Rajo, Sato, and Tamo. These qualities of Maya that kind of are part of a larger sort of system that dictates like what you eat when and like, you know, what you put in your body, what you do, like all these things that create rules that are utterly like fear-based. And the Guru says like, I've been able to do such a difficult thing by transcending even that paradigm that binds us in some way. And so commitment that we make through the Amrit ceremony, and how the Guru is asking us to kind of reflect and understand that that journey does not sort of end with the initiation ceremony. It actually is only just beginning. And that the Amrit that we cultivate within us is Nam. It's remembrance, it's identification, it's how we continue to live in relationship with the One and with the eternal wisdom, and how we continue to behave in a way that is different from the way that we behaved before we started to walk these paths. So yeah, I hope you spent some time with these compositions. I know they're pretty long, but they're worth sort of taking your time with and reflecting on. And I hope that it helps you start to think about the ways that you can bring that Amrit forth from within yourself. Yeah. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.